Hi family, I'm back. It's Teresa with the Shaman's Dream Project and another story to share. This one is what the pigs taught me. So I was in San Cristobal, Mexico, I don't know, about a month ago. And I was very keen to go and see some of the, ruins and the nature spots there because it's a really powerful, powerful place for connecting to Mother Earth and the sacred water. And just a lot of strength in the ancestors, the Mayans and the other you know tribes that have roamed these parts of the world. A lot of power to connect into. So really amazing place, and I was very much looking forward to doing this trip. And I went to one called Palenque, and I found that you could not enter unless, you could, but these thugs were kind of standing there um, telling you that you couldn't enter unless you wore a face diaper and stood in their little line with on their little X's, like prisoners, and basically, there was hand gels involved. I mean, it's all manner of rituals, right? And um, I proceeded to tell them the same thing I say openly and freely to everybody, to the cops, to the military, anybody. I'm not afraid to say this. This is the truth. That nobody on this planet has the right to tell me I cannot breathe. And nobody on the planet has the right to take a responsibility from me that I did not delegate in my unknowingness. I really can't ultimately delegate responsibility for myself. um, I mentioned the neighborhood here in Oaxaca. It's pretty interesting, kind of noisy, more noisy than I'm used to. But that, like, for instance, if these people in the entrance of Palenque wanted to say that I couldn't come in unless I, deprived myself of oxygen by wearing their face diapers, um, well, then, like, if I should suffer some sort of injury, whether that's losing consciousness right here, right now in the park, or let's say somebody had asthma and they had an asthma attack, or maybe the consequences of those actions don't actually manifest for several years, but it turns out that, I have permanent and irreparable neurological damage due to oxygen deprivation, or even organ failure or heart attack or any of these things, right? Who's going to pay the bills? Who takes responsibility for the consequences of my actions? And if that's not the same one that's actually taking the decision, then we have a conflict there. That's not the way the universe works. I'm responsible for my actions, and the consequences of my actions are my responsibility, and no one else's. And then I also reminded them that, that they're park rangers. They haven't been deputized by the police to enforce a law, and that's another thing, is that this thing is not a law. It's a mandate or an order or something. It's not something that the representatives, according to your voting ritual, your representatives are supposed to pass into law only those things that you, the constituent, desire to have. And I know for a fact there was no such, legislative process on this in any part of the world, you know. So, it's unlawful, period. So even if you were deputized by the cops, um, it's not a law, right? And I always say, call the cops. If you're afraid of getting a multa, you call the cops and you tell them that to give me the multa, because I'm the one that's taking the action, so I should get the consequence of the multa, not you, right? And anyhow, so it was like this big long bus, and oh my gosh, one of the guys, I ended up taking a tourist van there instead of driving, because it was quite a long drive. And um, he got really upset, and he suggested that the van leave without me, and blah blah blah. Basically, it got into this huge energy exchange, right? Because I wouldn't comply with that which is unlawful. And it's fine. It's all in divine order. I dropped my seed there. I spoke loudly and clearly for everyone, including the militia that was lined up there on like 10 or 12 of them with rifles and automatic, weapons and stuff, and they were all just sat there like, wow, finally, someone has the courage to say that which every one of us has in our hearts but is afraid to say because we're too busy following orders and having false belief in authority of government. And in this case, it's not even government, so it's like even more ridiculous. Like, did you vote for Bill Gates? I didn't vote for Bill Gates. What about Anthony Fauci or any of the health ministers? Or, well, come on, like, anyway, sorry. I just, you could see I was a little entangled in this energy. So the other instance was, and I just drove myself down to this other place. It was this beautiful canyon, and I got all the way down there. It was like an hour and a half drive, and I got all the way down there, and I found out the park is closed. Well, why is the park closed? Oh, because of the COVID. And why? No, you want to know the real reason it's closed? Because it's a magical, mystical, mystery school, powerful point of ley lines on the Earth's body, on the Earth, Mother Earth, and they don't want us to come into connection with that, and especially they want to keep us away from the water because water is consciousness, and I'll cover some more of that in the next video, but so that's the real reason why the park was closed. And and I spoke my piece to the security guards that were there and everything, and I just left, and I found something else to do that day, but it was a little disappointing. So I was on my way home, and we're going through these windy mountain roads, and like there were so many places where you couldn't pass because it was, the curves were just so much. And I got stuck behind this truck, and this truck had a bunch of pigs in it, and they were like on 2 layers. They were like a layer, like a shelf here, and like they were stacked on top of one another, and just like I saw this energy circling around this cages that they were in, and I looked at their faces, and I looked in their eyes, and they were like we're scared, we're terrified, we don't know what's going on, we need somebody to help us. It's really hot. It was really, really hot that day. They were all very hot and dehydrated and stressed, and so I know that this truck was carrying these pigs to be, what they call, slaughtered. So I had it, basically this is what the pigs told me. They said, as above, so below. If we have no freedom to live our lives without participating in satanic rituals and lending our energy, lending our energy to false light agendas, we have no sovereignty of the soul, literally. We have no right to breathe, literally. We're slaves. And why? Well, as above, so below. We're never going to have the freedom that we desire so long as we treat. He's a good example too, the chickens, the cows, the pigs, the sheep, the whatever, yeah, so if we prey upon these creatures and put them in cages and stuff, right? So, and let me get this real clear, family. I'm not judging anybody who eats meat. I can't judge anybody, ever, for anything, right? So let's be real clear about that. This is not a vegetarian movie clip. Um, it's just something that had occurred to me because a communication that I had with another sentient being. In this case, it was a pig. So basically, let me break this down. It's like, just in case, because I don't want anybody to misunderstand where I'm coming from here. So, like back in the day, when we had our bows and arrows, we would, and go out and do the hunt for the animal to eat the meat. We, as a village, as a tribe, we would gather in a circle around a fire typically, and we would give thanks and prayers for the animal to offer itself in our sight, to show up in our vision, to guide us to where they are physically, right? And then from there, the hunt took place, and the animal was killed with thanks and honor again, and then the process of the cutting and the cleaning and taking it back to the campsite or whatever, to the cave, to the tribe. Is a lot of work involved. There was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of honor. There was a lot of gratitude. There was first and foremost, the acknowledgement of the other sentient being, right? So that we could give these things, give this honor, give this thanks, give this sacrifice, give this energy, this, just think about the physical act of going out. Sometimes these guys would be gone for months, just living out of, eating whatever stuff they had been able to take from the, with them from the village. And, it was rough. It was a big sacrifice to eat meat. It was not easy. It wasn't something you just got in your car and went down to the grocery store and no. It was you gave much before taking the life of the animal and consuming the meat. So so that's, why did our ancestors live like that? Because they lived according to natural law. And so what is natural law? Let me read directly from a very powerful brother who I owe a lifetime of gratitude. His name is Mark Passio, and I highly recommend his work. You can find him in the show notes below and check out his work. It's a game changer. That's all I can say. It's like you just have to see for yourself. So according to my brother Mark Passio, what is natural law? It is the secret of these so-called secret societies throughout human history. Natural law is a set of irreversible, unchangeable, universal conditions which govern the collective behavioral choices, right, of the entire population. The consequences of our choices are always dependent upon whether our behaviors are moral or immoral. The freedom or slavery of an entire society is hinged upon whether that society behaves in the aggregate morally or unmorally. So that's, a fact. It's natural law. It's built into the fabric of our universe. It's like electromagnetism. I can't say that word. Electromagnetics. It's like gravity. It's you can ignore it, but it doesn't. You can pretend like it's not there, but it's there. This is what they mean by going with the flow as opposed to swimming against the current. Natural law, it's not a belief system, it's not a religion, it's something that can be observed, studied, repeated, and measured. These are like this is like the scientific theory, right? To if you want to prove something is real, then it needs to be able to be observed, it needs to be able to be measured, and it needs to be able to be repeated. When you see all three of those things line up, then you you know that is it adheres to the definition of the natural law, and therefore it is true. Yeah. Um, so um, um, so when we are out of alignment with natural law, then we will suffer. We will struggle. We will not have freedom. And treating the animals the way that we do, and consuming their flesh, just is in a way that is just taking. You know, we haven't gone out on the hunt, or in this case, you know, we haven't raised the animal. We haven't helped the animal give birth. We haven't helped the animal when it was sick. We haven't helped the animal to find pastures to graze upon. We haven't provided shelter for the animal at night during the rain, or, you know, shelter from the wolves or whatever. You know, we haven't invested that energy and that time and that effort into the care of that animal. And then we haven't invested the sacrifice of, you know, the slaughter of that animal. We haven't given anything, and we're just taking. I mean, we have the free will choice to do that. Always we have the free will choice. The answers are in our hearts. The answer is on the wind. The answer is in the song of the birds, and it is in the distressful faces of the pigs. If we have no peace in this world, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to one another. Mother Teresa said that. Whatever you want to say about Mother Teresa, I'm okay with everything. But, you know, every once in a while, even, you know, those who are employed on the dark side can utter some truth. You know, don't discount those who've walked on the dark. They can make very good agents for the light. And she said that if we have no peace in this world, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to one another. And she was like referring to the human race. So I would just take that to another level and apply it to all of sentient life on this planet. And that, you know, in the understanding that everything is a reflection. Everything in the 3D reality is a reflection of the state of the consciousness within, the state of the water. So that's what the pigs said. And I hope you found that to be a blessing. If anything I talk about or share is a blessing to you, family, then it is my honor to share it with you. I'm never ever trying to get somebody to, you know, come over to my way of thinking. It's not at all like that. It's my desire is just to see my brothers and sisters be ready, I guess, is that the right word, ready, to hear other perspectives, and to, if they resonate at all, you know, to then use your own imagination and develop, you know, your heart, just whatever it is that you came here to share, whether that's starting a channel or like this, you know, or building, you know, a school, or, you know, anything, like whatever your heart desires, wherever it leads you, let that be your impetus for that, and let whatever I share from my heart be a seed unto you that I give from my heart to your heart. The seed without time. La semilla sin tiempo. Because the truth knows no time. Thank you, family. Namaste.